The hand clamped over Victoria Chen's mouth before she could scream. "Don't make a sound." Marcus Rodriguez's voice cut through the silence of her penthouse, sharp, urgent, terrified. "If he hears you, your kids are dead." Victoria's $12,000 Birkin hit the marble floor. Her driver, the quiet man who'd worked for her for 8 months, was pressing her against the wall, his eyes wild with something she'd never seen before, pure fear. Through the crack in the door, she heard it. Her daughter's voice, small and broken. "Please, Derek, we'll be better. We promise." Then her husband's reply, cold as winter. "Your mother doesn't love you. She never did. I'm the only thing keeping you out of foster care." Marcus whispered, "I need to show you what's been happening while you're at work. But you have to trust me, right now." What had this man discovered in her own home? Comment your city below so I can see how far this story travels, because what happens next will change everything you think you know about the people you trust. Victoria Chen stood frozen in the private elevator of her Manhattan penthouse, Marcus Rodriguez's hand still hovering near her shoulder. 8 months. She'd known this man for 8 months, her security driver, former FBI, always professional, always distant. Never once had he touched her. Never once had his voice cracked like this. "Marcus, what the hell is, please?" He cut her off, his finger to his lips. "Just, please, Mrs. Chen. Trust me for 5 minutes." The elevator doors opened to her foyer. Everything looked normal. The Carrera marble gleamed. The crystal chandelier caught the afternoon light. Her home. Her sanctuary. The place she'd bought after James died because she couldn't bear to live in their old house anymore. Marcus moved ahead of her, silent as smoke. He pulled out his phone, tapped something, then turned it toward her. The screen showed a live feed. Her living room. Right now. Victoria's blood went cold. Sophia, her 15-year-old daughter, knelt on the floor. Ryan, 13, beside her. Both had their hands clasped in front of them like they were praying. But they weren't praying. They were begging. Derek Walsh, her husband of 8 months, stood over them, glass of scotch in hand. The smile she'd fallen in love with twisted into something unrecognizable. "Let me explain something to you both." Derek's voice came through Marcus's phone speaker, turned low. "Your mother works 16-hour days building her little tech empire. You think she does that because she loves her job? No. She does it because being at work is easier than being home with you two." "That's not true," Sophia whispered. Derek's hand shot out. He didn't hit her. He didn't need to. The movement alone made both children flinch. "Don't contradict me," Derek said softly. "I'm trying to teach you. Your real father is dead. Brain cancer, right? Left your mother with 2 kids she didn't know how to raise. She told me herself, she said, 'Derek, I don't know if I'm cut out for this anymore.'" "She didn't say that." Ryan's voice cracked. "Mom wouldn't." "Your mother," Derek interrupted, "is exhausted, burnt out. And do you know what she told me last week? She said she's been looking at boarding schools, military academies, places that can straighten you out because she's too tired to deal with teenage drama." Sophia started crying, silent tears running down her face. Victoria's legs nearly gave out. Marcus caught her elbow, steadied her. "This isn't real," Victoria breathed. "This can't be." "It's been happening for 6 months," Marcus said quietly. "Every time you travel, every late meeting, every weekend conference." On the screen, Derek continued. "Now, I convinced her not to send you away. I told her, give them another chance. Let me handle the discipline. But you have to understand, if you screw up again, if you make her life harder, I can't protect you anymore. Do you understand?" Both children nodded, trembling. "Good. Now go to your rooms. No dinner tonight. You need to learn that actions have consequences." Sophia and Ryan scrambled to their feet and ran. Derek pulled out his phone, smiling, typed something. 30 seconds later, Victoria's own phone buzzed in her purse. She pulled it out with shaking hands. Derek. Hey babe. Kids are great. Doing homework. Don't worry about anything. Love you. Victoria looked up at Marcus. How long have you known? I suspected after the first month. Confirmed it 3 weeks ago. Marcus's jaw was tight. I installed cameras. Hidden ones. I needed evidence before I came to you because I wouldn't have believed you. Victoria's voice was hollow. Would you have? She wanted to say yes, but the truth was she wouldn't have. Derek was perfect, charming, successful. He'd come into her life when she was drowning in grief, when the kids were acting out, when everything felt impossible. He'd promised to help, to be the father figure they needed. She'd been so grateful. Show me everything, Victoria said. Marcus hesitated. Mrs. Chen, what you're about to see. Show me everything. Now. He pulled up a folder on his phone. 23 video files. Victoria opened the first one. File 001, September 14th. Ryan dropped a glass at dinner. Accident. He was reaching for the water pitcher. Derek's voice calm and even. You know how much your mother works to afford things like this custom Italian glassware, and you just destroy it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean. Sorry doesn't fix broken glass, Ryan. Sorry doesn't pay for replacements. Your mother does, while you sit here being careless and useless. 13-year-old Ryan started crying. Stop crying. Men don't cry over spilled water. Go to your room. No screens for a week. Victoria's hand covered her mouth. File 005, September 28th. Sophia came home from school excited. Derek, I got an A on my calculus exam. The teacher said it was the highest score in the class. Derek barely looked up from his laptop. That's nice. I thought you'd be proud. Proud. Derek glanced at her. Sophia, you're 15. Getting good grades is the bare minimum expectation. You want a trophy for doing what you're supposed to do. That's called entitlement. Your mother hates entitlement. But I worked really hard. And you should. Because if you don't get into a good college, you'll be a financial burden on your mother for the rest of your life. Do you want that? No. Then stop looking for praise and just do your job. Go study. Victoria felt sick. File 011. October 19th. Late at night. Sophia knocked on Derek's office door. What? Derek didn't look up. I've been having nightmares about Dad. Can I talk to you? It's midnight, Sophia. I know, but I can't sleep and Mom's in Tokyo and I just... Derek finally turned. Your dad is dead. He's been dead for 2 years. These nightmares are just your brain being dramatic. You need to toughen up. The world doesn't care about your feelings. I just miss him. Well, he's not coming back, and your mother moved on. Maybe you should too. Go to bed. Sophia stood there for a moment, then left. The camera caught her in the hallway afterward, sliding down the wall, sobbing silently into her knees. Victoria was crying now, shaking. There's more, Marcus said gently. But maybe that's enough for now. No. Victoria's voice was steel. All of it. I need to see all of it. Marcus nodded. The files got worse. Derek telling Ryan he was probably going to peak in high school and amount to nothing. Derek accidentally mentioning that Victoria had called Sophia exhausting after a therapy session. Victoria had never said that. She'd said the situation was exhausting, not her daughter. Derek comparing both kids constantly to some imaginary standard they could never meet. Derek saying over and over in different ways, "Your mother doesn't really want you. I'm the only one keeping this family together. If I leave, she'll send you away." The last video was from yesterday. Derek gathered both kids in the living room, made them kneel, told them their mother had mentioned boarding school again, made them write letters apologizing for being difficult children and promising to do better so Mom doesn't get rid of us. Sophia's letter ended with, "I know I'm a burden. I'm sorry. I'll try to be invisible." Victoria turned away from the screen and vomited into her $15,000 ceramic planter. Marcus handed her a tissue. Didn't say anything. Just waited. When she could breathe again, Victoria asked, "Why didn't they tell me?" "Because he convinced them you already knew, that you agreed with everything he said, that you were on his side." "I would never." "I know that, but they're kids, and he's a grown man they trusted. He's been gaslighting them for months, Mrs. Chen, breaking them down piece by piece." Victoria straightened up, wiped her mouth. "Where is he now?" Marcus checked another camera feed. Still in the living room, drinking, texting someone. "Who?" "I don't know yet, but—" Marcus hesitated. "But what?" "I ran a background check on him. Went deeper than the standard pre-employment screening most people do before marriage." "And—" Marcus pulled up a document. "Derek Walsh has been married twice before. Both times to wealthy widows. Both marriages ended within 2 years. Both times he walked away with substantial divorce settlements." Victoria's blood ran cold. "He's a con artist." "I think he's worse than that." Marcus scrolled through more documents. His first wife, Michelle Harper, had a daughter from her previous marriage. After the divorce, the daughter tried to file charges against Derek for psychological abuse. Case was dropped due to lack of evidence. Oh my God. Second wife Amanda Reeves had twin sons. After that divorce, both boys ended up in therapy for anxiety disorders. The mother took a settlement with an NDA attached. I found the therapist's notes through unofficial channels. The boys described systematic emotional manipulation. Same pattern we're seeing here. Victoria felt like she was falling. He targets widows with children. Yes, and he's good at it. Charming. Patient. He builds trust, isolates the kids, makes them think their mother doesn't love them. By the time the mother figures it out, if she ever does, the kids are too broken to speak up. Why? Victoria's voice cracked. Why would someone do this? Marcus shook his head. I've seen a lot of bad people in my FBI days, Mrs. Chen. Some do evil things for money, some for power, some... He paused. Some just enjoy breaking people, especially people who can't fight back. Victoria looked at the screen again. Derek was pouring another scotch, smiling at his phone. He thinks he's won, she whispered. He thinks you don't know. Good. Victoria's voice hardened. Something shifted in her expression. The grief-stricken widow disappeared, and the CEO who'd built a $2 billion company from nothing took her place. How much evidence do we have that would hold up legally? Marcus understood immediately. Everything I've shown you is admissible. Hidden cameras in your own home are legal in New York as long as it's not in bathrooms or bedrooms. I've documented 23 separate incidents of psychological abuse. I also have financial records showing he's been siphoning money from your joint account. Small amounts. Nothing you'd notice, but over 8 months, it's about $47,000. Embezzlement. Yes. What else do we need? Marcus pulled up a notepad on his phone. A confession would be ideal. Something where he admits on camera what he's been doing. Admits he lied to the kids about you. Admits his pattern with previous families. How do we get that? You're supposed to be in San Francisco right now, right? Tech conference. Victoria nodded. She'd canceled, last minute, felt sick all morning, decided to come home early. That intuition, that mother's instinct she'd been ignoring for months, had finally screamed loud enough. He thinks you're gone until Friday. Marcus continued. That gives us 3 days. I say we use them. How? Marcus met her eyes. We make him comfortable, confident, sloppy. And when he slips up, he trailed off. Victoria finished the thought. We bury him. A sound from down the hall made them both freeze. Footsteps. Marcus killed the phone screen, pocketed it. Moved Victoria behind him. Ryan appeared in the foyer. Stopped dead when he saw his mother. Mom. His voice was small, confused. You're home. Victoria's heart shattered. Her son looked terrified, not happy to see her. Terrified. Ryan, sweetheart, Does Derek know you're here? Ryan interrupted, glancing back toward the living room. No, You have to leave. Ryan's voice dropped to a desperate whisper. Please, Mom. Just go back to San Francisco. Say you forgot something but you're leaving again. Please. Ryan, what? If he knows you came home early, he'll think we called you. He'll think we told you something, and he'll... Ryan's voice broke. Please, Mom. Just go. We'll be fine. We're always fine. Victoria stepped forward. Baby, you don't have to be afraid. I'm not afraid. Ryan's eyes filled with tears. I'm not. I'm fine. Everything's fine. We're fine. Just, please don't let him know you're here. Marcus moved then, knelt down to Ryan's level. Hey Ryan, look at me. Ryan did reluctantly. Your mom knows everything, Marcus said quietly. She's seen the videos. She knows what he's been doing. Ryan's face went white. What videos? I've been recording. To protect you and your sister. Your mom knows the truth now. No. Ryan started shaking. No. He said if anyone ever found out he'd tell Mom we were lying. That we're just difficult kids who want attention. He said she'd never believe us over him. He said, Ryan! Victoria grabbed her son's shoulders. Listen to me. I believe you. I believe you. And I am so sorry I didn't see this sooner. Ryan stared at her, searching her face for the lie for the trick. Then he broke. 13 years old, and he collapsed into his mother's arms like the child he still was, sobbing so hard his whole body shook. Victoria held him, rocked him, whispered, I've got you. I've got you. You're safe now. I promise you're safe. From the living room, Derek's voice called out, Ryan, who are you talking to? Ryan went rigid. Marcus put his hand on the boy's shoulder. Trust us, he whispered. But right now, you have to pretend everything's normal. Can you do that? Ryan pulled back from his mother, wiping his eyes frantically. I don't know. Yes, you do. Marcus's voice was firm but kind. You've been doing it for 6 months. Just a little longer. Can you be brave for a little longer? Ryan looked at his mother. Victoria nodded. We're going to end this. But we need to be smart. Okay. Ryan. Derek's voice again, closer now. Just a second. Ryan called back. Then to his mother. What do I say? The truth. Victoria said. You came to get water. Thought you heard something. Found nothing. Go. Ryan took a breath. Nodded. Started to walk away. Then he turned back. Mom. Yes? Sophia's hurting herself. Victoria's blood froze. What? She cuts. Her thighs where you can't see. Started 2 months ago. I found her in the bathroom one night. She made me promise not to tell. Oh my God. I tried to help her, but I didn't know what to do, and Derek said we couldn't bother you with our problems, and... Ryan's voice spiraled. Ryan. Marcus cut through the panic. You did the right thing telling us now. We're going to help her, but you need to go before he comes looking. Ryan nodded. Disappeared around the corner. They heard Derek. What took you so long? I thought I heard something. Checked the front door. And... Nothing. Just the building settling, I guess. Go to bed. It's late. Yes, sir. Footsteps retreated. Victoria turned to Marcus, her face pale. My daughter is cutting herself. I know. Marcus's voice was heavy. I saw the scars 2 weeks ago. She came to the kitchen for water wearing shorts. Didn't realize I was there. When she saw me, she ran. And you didn't tell me? I tried. Marcus pulled up text messages. 3 messages to Victoria over the past 2 weeks asking if they could speak privately. All of them answered with, "Swamped this week, can it wait?" Victoria closed her eyes. "I was so busy." "He kept you busy," Marcus corrected. "That's part of the pattern. He books you solid with meetings, events, trips. Make sure you're exhausted when you're home. Make sure you don't have time to really see the kids. It's deliberate, Mrs. Chen." "Stop calling me that." "Ma'am, call me Victoria. If we're going to war, we're doing it as allies, not employer and employee." Marcus nodded slowly. "Victoria." "How do we get him to confess?" Marcus thought for a moment. "We need to rattle him. Make him feel like he's losing control. Desperate people make mistakes." "How?" "You have a lawyer. Best in New York. Call them. Tonight. Tell them everything. Get divorce papers drawn up immediately, but don't file them yet." "Why not?" "Because when you do file them, I want everything ready. Custody papers, restraining order, criminal charges for embezzlement and child endangerment. We hit him with everything at once so hard, he doesn't have time to spin a story." Victoria nodded. "What else?" "We need Sophia's testimony. And Ryan's. On video, ideally." "They're too scared." "They're scared because they think they're alone. Once they know you're on their side, really know it, they'll talk. Kids are resilient, especially when they finally feel safe." From down the hall, a door opened. Closed. Sophia appeared heading for the kitchen. Stopped when she saw her mother. "Mom." Her voice was barely a whisper. Victoria opened her arms. Sophia ran. And as her 15-year-old daughter clung to her, Victoria Chen made a promise not out loud, but to herself, to James's memory, to the mother. She should have been all along. "I will burn this man's world to the ground." Victoria held Sophia until her daughter's breathing steadied. The girl pulled back first, wiping her eyes with the heel of her hand. "You weren't supposed to be home until Friday," Sophia whispered. "I know." "Does he know you're here?" "Not yet." Victoria brushed a strand of hair from Sophia's face. "But we need to talk. All of us. Somewhere he can't hear." Marcus pointed toward the service elevator at the end of the hall. "Leads to the parking garage. My car's soundproof, bulletproof glass insulated interior, FBI retrofit." Sophia's eyes widened. "Why do you have a bulletproof car?" "Long story," Marcus said. "Come on." They moved quickly and quietly. Victoria texted Ryan's service elevator. "Now. Don't let Derek see." 2 minutes later, all 4 of them sat in Marcus's black SUV parked in the corner of the underground garage. Ryan and Sophia in the back seat. Victoria turned around to face them. Marcus in the driver's seat, running a white noise generator to mask their voices from any potential listening devices. "I need you both to listen to me," Victoria started. Her voice shook but held firm. "I know what Derek's been doing. I've seen videos. I know he's been hurting you." Sophia's face crumpled. "Mom, I'm so sorry. We tried to be good, we really did, but nothing we did was ever—" "Stop." Victoria's voice cracked. "You have nothing to apologize for. Nothing. Do you understand me? This is not your fault." "But he said you were tired of us," Ryan said quietly. "He said you wanted to send us away. He showed us brochures for military schools." "I never said that. I never even thought that." Victoria felt tears streaming down her face. "He lied to you. About everything. I would never ever send you away. You're my whole world." "Then why weren't you here?" Sophia's voice broke on the last word. "Why were you always gone?" The question hit Victoria like a physical blow. "Because I was running." Both kids stared at her. "After your dad died, I didn't know how to keep living. Everything reminded me of him. You two reminded me of him. Every time I looked at you, Ryan, I saw his smile. Every time you played piano, Sophia, I heard him in the room listening. It hurt so much I could barely breathe. So you left, Sophia said flatly. So I ran, Victoria corrected. To work, to meetings, to anything that kept me busy enough that I didn't have to feel the pain. And I told myself I was doing it for us, providing for the family, keeping the company strong, honoring your father's memory by staying successful. But really, you were just hiding, Ryan said. Victoria nodded. Yes. And I left you alone with your grief. And then Derek came along and he seemed so perfect and I was so grateful someone else could step in and be what I couldn't be, and I didn't look close enough. I didn't see what he was doing. She reached back and took both their hands. I failed you, both of you, and I am so sorry. Sophia started crying again. I thought you didn't love us anymore. Oh, baby. Victoria squeezed her hand. I never stopped loving you. Not for 1 second. I just forgot how to show it. But I'm here now. And I'm not running anymore. I'm going to fix this. How? Ryan asked. He'll say we're lying. He always says that. He says if we ever tell anyone, he'll convince you we're making it up for attention. That's why we need evidence, Marcus said, speaking for the first time. Video testimony, from both of you, telling the truth about everything he's done. But he'll see the videos, Sophia protested. He checks Mom's phone sometimes, her computer. He says he's making sure she's not too stressed, but I think he's looking for stuff. Marcus nodded. Smart. He's covering his tracks, but he doesn't know about my system. Everything I've recorded is encrypted and stored on secure servers he can't access. If you're willing to talk on camera, I'll record it tonight. Tomorrow, Victoria's lawyer will use it to file for emergency custody and a restraining order. Tomorrow, Ryan's voice pitched up. But what about tonight if he finds out? He won't, Victoria said firmly. Tonight, everything stays normal. I'm going to leave the same way I came in. Tomorrow morning, I'll fly back from San Francisco officially this time. By tomorrow night, Derek will be served with papers and removed from this apartment. What if he gets violent? Sophia asked quietly. The question hung in the air. Marcus turned in his seat to look at both kids. I need to tell you something. My name is Marcus Rodriguez. I worked for the FBI for 12 years as a hostage negotiator and tactical response coordinator. I've handled situations a lot more dangerous than Derek Walsh. If he makes one wrong move, I'll handle it. You have my word. Why did you leave the FBI? Ryan asked. Marcus's jaw tightened. Victoria saw the flash of pain cross his face. I had a family once, Marcus said quietly. A wife named Elena. A son named Diego. He was 6 years old. Sophia leaned forward. What happened? Home invasion while I was working a case. I got the call too late. By the time I got there... He stopped, swallowed hard. They didn't make it. The car went silent. I quit the FBI 3 days later, Marcus continued. Couldn't do the work anymore. Every hostage situation, every domestic violence call, I saw my family. Saw what I couldn't save. He looked at Ryan and Sophia. But when I started working for your mom and saw what Derek was doing, something changed. I couldn't save Diego and Elena, but I could save you two, and I decided that's what I was going to do no matter what it cost me. Sophia's voice was barely audible. We're not your responsibility. Maybe not, Marcus said. But you're my purpose now, and I don't leave my purpose unfinished. Ryan wiped his eyes. Okay, I'll do the video. Me too, Sophia said. Victoria squeezed their hands again. Thank you for being brave. I know this is hard. Mom, Sophia's voice wavered. Ryan told you, didn't he? About the cutting. Victoria's heart clenched. Yes. I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't. Show me. Victoria's voice was gentle but firm. Sophia hesitated, then slowly rolled up her sleeves. Nothing there. Then she pulled up her pant leg, slightly revealing the top of her thigh. Thin white lines. Some healed, some fresh. Victoria felt like she'd been stabbed. How long? 2 months, maybe 3. Sophia pulled her pant leg back down. It's the only thing that makes the noise in my head stop. What noise? The voice that says I'm worthless, that I'm a burden, that everyone would be happier if I just wasn't here anymore. Sophia's voice dropped to a whisper. Sometimes I think about what it would be like if I wasn't. Victoria pulled her daughter into the front seat, held her close. Listen to me. You are not worthless. You are not a burden. You are my daughter and you are everything. And I know you're hurting, and I know I wasn't there when you needed me, but I'm here now. And we're going to get you help, real help. Therapy medication if you need it, whatever it takes. Derek said therapy is for weak people. Derek is a liar and an abuser, and his opinion means less than nothing, Victoria said fiercely. Therapy is for strong people who are brave enough to ask for help. Your father was in therapy for 2 years after his mother died. Did that make him weak? No, Sophia whispered. Dad was the strongest person I knew. Exactly. And you're his daughter. You have his strength. You just need help finding it again. Marcus cleared his throat. We should do the recordings now. The longer we're down here, the more chance Derek gets suspicious. Victoria nodded. Okay. Who wants to go first? I will, Ryan said. Marcus pulled out a professional video camera from the back of the SUV, set it up on a small tripod, positioned Ryan in frame with good lighting. Just talk, Marcus said. Tell me everything Derek did. Every threat, every lie, every time he hurt you. Don't hold back. Ryan took a breath, then started talking. For 20 minutes he spoke. About the first time Derek yelled at him for dropping a glass. About being forced to write lines until 3 in the morning. About being told his father would be ashamed of him. About the night Derek locked him in his room for 6 hours because he forgot to make his bed. About the constant message that he was useless, stupid, a disappointment. He made me believe Mom hated me. Ryan said, his voice breaking. He said she called me exhausting and difficult, and that she regretted having kids so young. He said the only reason she kept me around was because divorce looked bad for her company image. Victoria was crying silently, her hand over her mouth. Did you ever tell anyone? Marcus asked gently. I tried. I told my guidance counselor at school that things were hard at home. She called Mom's office. Derek answered because Mom was in a meeting. He explained that I was going through a phase and acting out for attention after my dad's death. The counselor believed him. She told me I needed to be more understanding of how hard this was for my mom. What did Derek say when he found out you talked to the counselor? Ryan's face went pale. He said if I ever did that again, he'd tell Mom I was lying to make her look bad. That she'd lose custody of us. That Sophia and I would end up in foster care, split up, and it would be my fault. His voice dropped to a whisper. I believed him. Marcus turned off the camera. You did good, Ryan. Really good. Sophia went next. Her testimony was worse. She talked about Derek criticizing every meal she ate, every outfit she wore, every grade she brought home. About him telling her she was gaining weight and needed to exercise more. About him commenting on her body in ways that made her skin crawl. About the night she got her period and asked for help, and he told her to stop being dramatic and figure it out yourself. He said Dad would be disappointed in the person I was becoming. Sophia said, tears streaming down her face. He said Dad always wanted me to be strong and independent, and instead I was weak and needy. He said that's why Mom was never home, because she couldn't stand to see what I'd turned into. When did you start cutting? Marcus asked quietly. After the first time he made me kneel. It was 3 months ago. I accidentally broke one of Mom's vases, the crystal one from Tiffany's. I told Derek, and he made me kneel on the broken glass for 10 minutes while he lectured me about respect and responsibility. Victoria made a sound like a wounded animal. My knees were bleeding. Sophia continued. After he finally let me get up, I went to the bathroom to clean the cuts. And I saw the razor. And I just... I thought if I'm already bleeding, if I already hurt, maybe I deserve it. Maybe if I punish myself, he'll stop punishing me. She looked at her mother. It didn't work. But it made me feel like I had control over something, you know. Like I got to choose when I hurt, instead of waiting for him to decide. Marcus stopped recording. That's enough. You were incredibly brave, Sophia. What happens now? She asked. Victoria pulled both kids close. Now I call my lawyer. We file papers first thing in the morning. By tomorrow afternoon, Derek will be out of our lives forever. What if he fights it? Ryan asked. He can try, Victoria said. But he won't win. I have the best legal team in New York. I have video evidence. I have financial records showing embezzlement. And I have something he doesn't expect. What? A mother who's done running. They stayed in the car for another hour while Victoria made calls. First to her lawyer, Victoria Chen, no relation, despite the shared surname, who answered despite the late hour. Patricia, I need divorce papers drawn up immediately, emergency custody filing, restraining order, and I want criminal charges filed for embezzlement and child endangerment. Patricia's voice was sharp and alert. What happened? Victoria explained everything. The abuse, the videos, the pattern with previous wives, the money. Send me everything Marcus recorded, Patricia said. I'll have papers ready by 7 a.m. Judge Morrison owes me a favor. I can get an emergency hearing by 10. Derek will be served by noon and escorted from the premises by police. He has a gun, Victoria said, suddenly remembering what Marcus had mentioned. Unregistered. Patricia swore. That's a felony in New York. I'll make sure the police know. They'll secure the weapon when they serve him. Patricia, I need you to understand something. This man is dangerous. He's targeted vulnerable women and children before. He's smart and manipulative, and he will try to spin this. Victoria, I've been practicing family law for 23 years. I've dealt with men like Derek Walsh my entire career. He's not as smart as he thinks he is, and he's about to learn a very expensive lesson about who he chose to mess with. Victoria almost smiled. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when he's behind bars. I'll see you at my office at 7 sharp. Bring the kids if they're willing to testify in person. After Patricia, Victoria called her therapist, Dr. Sarah Mitchell, and asked for an emergency session for Sophia tomorrow afternoon. Then she called Ryan's school counselor and scheduled a meeting. Then she called her company's head of security and had them change all the access codes to the penthouse effective immediately. By the time she finished, it was past midnight. We need to get you all back upstairs, Marcus said. Derek will notice if you're gone too long. The walk back through the service elevator was silent and tense. When they reached the penthouse level, Marcus went first, checking to make sure Derek wasn't in the hallway. Clear, he whispered. Ryan and Sophia hurried to their rooms. Victoria lingered. Marcus, she said quietly. He turned. Thank you. For everything. For protecting them when I didn't. For being brave enough to tell me the truth. Marcus shook his head. I was terrified you wouldn't believe me, that you'd fire me on the spot, and I'd lose the only chance I had to help them. Why didn't you go to the police yourself? Because the system doesn't always work. Sometimes abusers are too smart, too charming. Sometimes the evidence isn't enough. I needed you on board first. Otherwise it would have been my word against his, and he'd have poisoned you against me before I ever got close to the truth. Victoria studied his face. You've been protecting my family for months. Why? I told you. You're my purpose now. That's not the whole answer. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then, when Elena and Diego died, I blamed myself. I was supposed to protect them. That was my job. And I failed. I've been carrying that weight for 3 years and it's been crushing me. But when I saw what Derek was doing to your kids, he met her eyes. I realized maybe I couldn't save my family, but I could save yours, and maybe that would be enough. Maybe that would mean Elena and Diego didn't die for nothing, that I could still be the protector I was supposed to be. Marcus, your family's death wasn't your fault. Wasn't it? I was the FBI agent. I was trained for hostage situations. If I'd been home, you would have died too, Victoria said firmly. And Elena would have lost you both. Sometimes terrible things happen, and there's no one to blame. Just tragedy. Marcus looked away. I know that up here. He tapped his head. But knowing it and believing it are different things. Sophia said something tonight that stuck with me. She said therapy is for strong people brave enough to ask for help. Maybe you should take her advice. Maybe? Marcus, when this is over, when Derek is gone and we're safe, don't leave. I mean, if you want to, I understand. But Victoria struggled for words. My kids need someone like you in their lives. Someone who protects without controlling. Someone who listens without judging. Someone who shows them what a good man looks like. I'm not... Yes, you are. You think you're broken, but you're not. You're healing. And maybe we can heal together. Something shifted in Marcus's expression. I'll stay as long as you need me. Good. Victoria smiled slightly. Now I need to get out of here before Derek realizes I'm home. Marcus walked her back to the service elevator. Text me when you're on the plane tomorrow. I'll keep the cameras running all night. If anything happens, anything at all, I'll intervene immediately. Be careful. If he catches you, he won't. Victoria wanted to say more, but footsteps echoed from down the hall. She slipped into the elevator just as the doors closed. Marcus turned to find Derek standing there, glass of scotch in hand, eyes slightly unfocused from alcohol. Where's everyone going? Derek asked, his voice carrying that edge of false friendliness. Just checking the security system, Marcus said smoothly. Motion sensor was triggered in the garage. Turned out to be nothing, just a cat. At midnight, security doesn't sleep. Derek studied him for a moment. You're very dedicated, Marcus. Sometimes I wonder if you're too dedicated. Like you care more about this family than you should for someone who's just the hired help. Marcus met his gaze without flinching. I take my job seriously. I'm sure you do. Derek took a sip of his drink. Tell me something. Did you work for Victoria before she married me? Yes, sir. And did you ever, I don't know, think she was attractive? Successful woman, single, vulnerable after her husband's death. Must have been tempting. Marcus kept his voice neutral. Mrs. Chen is my employer. I've never thought of her as anything else. Right, of course. Derek smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Well, just so we're clear, Victoria is my wife now. And this is my home. Whatever loyalty you felt to her before, you answer to me now too. Understand? Crystal clear, sir? Good. Derek turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Marcus. The kids seem to like you. That's fine. But remember, I'm their father figure now. You're just security. Don't overstep. Wouldn't dream of it. Derek walked away. Marcus waited until he heard the master bedroom door close. Then he pulled out his phone and texted Victoria. He's suspicious. Be extra careful tomorrow. Her response came immediately. You too, and Marcus. Thank you for not punching him just now. Who says I didn't want to? I'm saying thank you for not doing what you wanted to do. Marcus smiled slightly at the screen. Then he settled into the security office, pulled up all the camera feeds, and prepared for a long night of watching. On one screen, he saw Ryan lying in bed staring at the ceiling. On another, Sophia sat at her desk, her therapy journal open, writing frantically. On a third, Derek paced the master bedroom, his phone pressed to his ear, talking to someone in a low, angry voice. Marcus turned up the audio feed for that room. Don't care what you think, Derek was saying. The plan is working perfectly. She's completely checked out. The kids are terrified. Another 6 months and I'll have enough evidence of her neglect to sue for custody. Then she'll pay anything to make me go away quietly. A pause as the person on the other end spoke. Yes, I'm sure. She's too busy with her company to notice what's happening under her own roof. The woman hasn't had a real conversation with her kids in months. They barely look at her anymore. Another pause. The previous ones. Please. Michelle was too emotional, fell apart during depositions. Amanda had an NDA. This one is different. Victoria Chen is worth billions. When I walk away from this marriage, I'm set for life. Marcus felt his jaw clench. He saved the recording. Derek continued. The kids are the key. Break them down enough and they become perfect witnesses. My mom was never there. Derek was the only one who cared. The courts eat that up, especially when the mother is a career-obsessed ice queen who chose work over family. The person on the other end must have warned him about something because Derek laughed. Relax. I've been doing this for years. The driver is clueless. The staff sees what I want them to see. And Victoria. She's so buried in guilt and grief she'll believe anything I tell her. She already thinks she's a terrible mother. I just reinforce what she already believes. Marcus's hands curled into fists. Look, I have to go. The kids might hear me. But trust me, this time next year, I'll be divorced, rich, and moving on to the next one. Victoria Chen won't know what hit her. Derek hung up, poured himself another drink, smiled at his reflection in the mirror. Marcus stopped the recording and immediately forwarded it to Patricia's encrypted email with the subject line, Confession, Premeditated Fraud. Then he sent a copy to Victoria with a single message. He just hung himself. Her response took 5 minutes. That son of a bitch. Tomorrow, Marcus replied. Tomorrow he pays. Tomorrow, Victoria agreed. Get some sleep, Marcus. You'll need your strength. You too. But neither of them slept. Marcus watched the cameras all night. Victoria sat in her hotel room, going over legal documents and making lists of everything she needed to do tomorrow. At 6 a.m., Marcus saw Derek wake up, shower, put on an expensive suit, and check his phone. Saw him smile at whatever message he received. At 6:30, Ryan and Sophia emerged from their rooms, moving quietly, trying to be invisible. Derek barely glanced at them. Morning. Make yourselves breakfast. I have a conference call. Yes, sir, Ryan muttered. Marcus watched the kids make toast in silence, sitting at opposite ends of the kitchen island, not speaking, not making eye contact. At 7 a.m., Victoria walked into Patricia Chen's law office in Midtown. Marcus had forwarded all the video files overnight. Patricia had 3 associates working on the case, all of them looking grim. This is one of the worst cases I've seen in years, Patricia said bluntly. The psychological abuse is textbook. The financial fraud is documented. And that phone call last night, that's consciousness of guilt. He admits the entire plan on tape. Can we get him arrested today? Victoria asked. For the embezzlement and illegal firearm possession, yes. The child abuse charges will take longer to build, but with your testimony and the kids' testimony, we can get a restraining order immediately and emergency sole custody. How fast? Patricia checked her watch. Judge Morrison is seeing us at 9:45. If he grants the order and he will police, we'll serve Derek by 11. He'll be removed from the penthouse and taken into custody. Bail hearing will be this afternoon. I'll argue he's a flight risk, given the financial fraud. What if he makes bail? Then the restraining order keeps him 500 feet from you and the kids at all times. He violates that, he goes back to jail immediately. Victoria nodded. Do it. At 9:45, they stood before Judge Morrison, a silver-haired man in his 60s, who listened to Patricia's presentation with increasingly dark expression. When Patricia played the audio of Derek's phone call, the judge's mouth became a thin line. Mrs. Chen. Judge Morrison said, I'm granting your emergency custody petition, sole physical and legal custody to you. Mr. Walsh is to have no contact with the minor children pending investigation. I'm also granting the restraining order and authorizing police to remove Mr. Walsh from the residence immediately. He signed the papers. I'm also forwarding this case to the district attorney for criminal prosecution. This man needs to be stopped before he hurts another family. Thank you, Your Honor, Victoria said quietly. At 11:15, Marcus watched through the cameras as 6 NYPD officers knocked on the penthouse door. Derek answered, smiling. "Can I help you?" "Derek Walsh." "Yes." "You're being served with divorce papers, an emergency custody order, and a restraining order. You're also under arrest for embezzlement and illegal firearms possession." Derek's smile vanished. "What?" "This is absurd. Where's Victoria?" "She'll tell you this is a mistake." "Mrs. Chen is the one who filed the charges, sir. Please turn around and place your hands behind your back." Derek's face went white, then red with fury. "You can't do this. This is my home. Those are my kids." "Sir, you need to comply now." Derek lunged for the officer. 2 others grabbed him, wrestled him to the ground, cuffed him. The kids watched from their doorways, eyes wide. As Derek was pulled to his feet, he saw them. His expression twisted into something ugly. "This is your fault," he snarled at Ryan and Sophia. "You told her, didn't you? You ungrateful little—" "That's enough," one officer said firmly, dragging him toward the door. Derek fought against them. "I gave you everything. A father figure, discipline structure. And this is how you repay me. You'll regret this. All of you will regret this." Then he was gone. The apartment fell silent. Ryan and Sophia stood frozen. Marcus emerged from the security office. "It's over. He can't hurt you anymore." Sophia's knees buckled. Ryan caught her. Both of them started crying. Not sad tears, but the kind that come when you've been holding your breath for months and finally you can breathe again. Marcus knelt beside them. "Your mom will be home in 20 minutes. You're safe now. I promise you're safe." And for the first time in 6 months, the kids believed it. Victoria burst through the penthouse door 17 minutes later, breathless from running through the lobby. She found Ryan and Sophia sitting on the couch with Marcus, all 3 of them silent, the air thick with the aftermath of Derek's arrest. "Mom!" Sophia stood up, and Victoria crossed the room in 3 strides, pulling both kids into her arms. I'm here. He's gone. He can't hurt you anymore." Ryan's voice was muffled against her shoulder. "What if he comes back?" "He can't. There's a restraining order. If he comes within 500 feet of us, he goes straight to jail." "But what if he doesn't care?" Sophia pulled back, her eyes red. "What if he's so angry that he doesn't care about the rules?" Marcus spoke up from where he stood near the window. "Then he'll have to go through me first, and I promise you he won't get that chance." Victoria looked at him over the kids' heads, mouthing a silent thank you. Marcus nodded once. "I need you both to listen to me," Victoria said, guiding them back to sit down. "The next few weeks are going to be hard. There will be court dates, testimony, probably therapy sessions. Derek's lawyer is going to try to paint him as the victim. They're going to say we're lying, that he was just trying to help, that we're ungrateful." "But we have proof," Ryan said. "We do, and that's why we're going to win. But it's still going to be ugly and painful, and I need you to be prepared for that." Sophia's hands twisted in her lap. "What if people don't believe us? What if they think we're just spoiled rich kids making up stories?" "Then they'll have to answer to me." Patricia Chen's voice came from the doorway. She'd followed Victoria up. "And trust me, I don't lose cases like this." Victoria made introductions. Patricia shook both kids' hands firmly. "I want you to know something," Patricia said, sitting down across from them. "I've been a family lawyer for 23 years. I've seen hundreds of cases like yours, and every single time the abuser tries the same playbook. They say the kids are lying. They say the mother is vindictive. They say it's all a misunderstanding. You know what the difference is in the cases I win." "What?" Ryan asked quietly. "The truth. And we have the truth on video, on audio, in financial records, and in your own words. Derek Walsh is going to try to fight this, but he's already lost. He just doesn't know it yet." "When's the bail hearing?" Marcus asked. Patricia checked her phone. 3 o'clock. DA's office is arguing he's a flight risk due to the embezzlement charges and his pattern of targeting vulnerable women. They're asking for $500,000 bail. Will he make it? Victoria asked. Doubtful. The money he stole from you is already frozen. His accounts are under investigation. Unless he has resources we don't know about, he's staying in lockup until trial. Sophia looked up. How long until trial? For the criminal charges, 4 to 6 months typically. But the divorce and custody hearing will happen much faster. Probably within 8 weeks. 8 weeks, Ryan repeated. That's 2 months of waiting. 2 months of healing, Victoria corrected. 2 months of getting back to normal. Or finding a new normal at least. Marcus's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned. Detective Ramirez from the precinct wants to come by this afternoon to take statements from the kids. Is that okay? Patricia nodded. That's standard procedure. Ryan, Sophia the detective is going to ask you to tell him everything Derek did. It's going to be similar to what you told Marcus on video last night, but this is official. For the criminal case. Do we have to? Sophia's voice was small. No, Victoria said firmly. You don't have to do anything you're not ready for. But if you don't, Patricia added gently, it makes the case harder to prosecute. The videos help, but first-hand testimony from the victims carries a lot of weight with juries. Sophia looked at Ryan. Some silent conversation passed between them. We'll do it, Ryan said finally. But only if Mom's in the room. I'll be right there the whole time, Victoria promised. Patricia stood. I need to get back to the office and prepare for the bail hearing. Marcus, can you send me the full security footage from this morning? The arrest. Derek's reaction, everything. Already done. Check your email. Efficient. I like that. Patricia turned to Victoria. Call me after the detective leaves. We need to discuss the divorce settlement. There won't be a settlement, Victoria said coldly. He gets nothing. Unfortunately, New York is an equitable distribution state. He's entitled to a portion of marital assets. He stole from me. He abused my children. He married me under false pretenses as part of a documented pattern of fraud. Patricia smiled. Which is why I said he's entitled to a portion. I didn't say he'd get a portion. Leave it to me. After Patricia left, Victoria ordered lunch from the kids' favorite restaurant. They ate quietly in the kitchen, the TV on low in the background, playing some mindless cooking show. Normal sounds. Safe sounds. Mom, Sophia said between bites of her sandwich. Yeah, baby. Can we talk about Dad, real Dad? Victoria's throat tightened. Of course. Derek said Dad would be ashamed of us, that we weren't living up to what he wanted us to be. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. Was he right? No. Victoria's voice was fierce. Your father would be so proud of you both. He would be proud of how strong you've been, how you protected each other, how you survived something that would have broken most people. But we didn't tell anyone, Ryan said. We just let it happen. You were being manipulated by an adult who knew exactly how to exploit your fears. That's not weakness. That's being a kid in an impossible situation. Marcus, who'd been standing quietly by the window, spoke up. Can I tell you something about your dad? Both kids turned to look at him. I never met him, Marcus continued, but I've seen his pictures all over this apartment. I've heard you talk about him, and I know he was an architect, right? Yeah, Ryan said. He designed buildings. He designed this apartment, actually, Sophia added. Right, so he was someone who understood foundations, structure, support systems. Marcus moved to sit with them. The thing about good architecture is that it's built to withstand pressure. Earthquakes, wind, stress. Your dad built this home to protect you. And he built you, taught you, loved you, showed you who you were to withstand pressure too. But we broke, Sophia whispered. No, you bent. There's a difference. Buildings that are too rigid, they crack under pressure. But buildings with flexibility, they sway and bend and survive. You two survived. And now you're going to rebuild stronger than before." Ryan wiped his eyes. "You talk like him sometimes. Dad, I mean. He always had these metaphors about buildings and life." "Smart man." "The smartest," Sophia agreed. Then, after a pause, "Can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Why did you really stay? I know you said we're your purpose, but there has to be more to it than that." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Victoria watched him, curious herself. "When Diego died," Marcus said finally, "I didn't just lose my son. I lost my future. All the things I'd planned to teach him, show him, watch him become. It was like someone erased the next 40 years of my life in one night." He looked at both kids. "I can't get that back. Diego's gone and nothing changes that. But when I saw what Derek was doing to you two, I realized something. I couldn't save my son, but I could save someone else's children. And maybe that wouldn't erase what I lost, but it would mean the skills I learned as a father, the protection I failed to give Diego, wouldn't go to waste." "We're not a replacement for him," Ryan said quietly. "No, you're not. You're your own people with your own lives. But helping you, protecting you, it gave me a reason to get up in the morning again. So really, you saved me as much as I saved you." Sophia reached across the table and took his hand. "Thank you for not giving up on us." Marcus squeezed her hand gently. "Thank you for giving me a reason not to give up on myself." Victoria felt tears streaming down her face. She didn't bother to wipe them away. At 2 o'clock, Detective Carmen Ramirez arrived. She was a woman in her late 40s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. She sat up in the living room with a recording device and notebook. "I know this is hard," Detective Ramirez said after introductions. "But I need to hear everything in your own words. Start from the beginning. When did Derek Walsh first start abusing you?" Ryan went first. He talked for 40 minutes, his voice steady but quiet, recounting every incident he could remember. The broken glass, the endless writing assignments, the locked doors, the threats. Detective Ramirez took notes without interrupting. When Ryan finished, she asked, "Did he ever touch you, physically hurt you in any way?" "He shoved me once, against the wall. It didn't leave a bruise or anything, but it scared me." "When was this?" "Maybe a month ago. I talked back to him, said something about how Mom wouldn't want us treated this way. He got really angry, grabbed my shirt and pushed me into the hallway wall. Told me never to question him again." "Did anyone see this happen?" Ryan shook his head. "Sophia was at a friend's house. Mom was traveling. It was just us." "But I caught it on camera," Marcus interjected. He pulled up the footage on his laptop, showed it to the detective. Detective Ramirez watched her expression hardening. "I'll need a copy of that. Already sent it to the DA's office, but I'll send it to you too." Sophia's testimony was harder. She had to stop several times, crying too hard to continue. Victoria held her hand through all of it. "He made me feel like I was worthless," Sophia said at one point. "Like the only reason Mom kept me around was obligation. He said I was becoming fat and lazy, and that boys would never like me if I didn't get my act together." "How old are you, Sophia?" 15. Detective Ramirez's jaw tightened. "Did he ever make inappropriate comments about your body or appearance?" "He said I needed to dress more modestly because I was developing and it was distracting. But Mom bought me the clothes I wear. They're normal clothes. I wasn't wearing anything weird." "What you wear is not the issue. His comments are. Did he ever touch you inappropriately?" "No, he never touched me like that. But the way he looked at me sometimes." Sophia trailed off, shivering. Victoria felt rage building in her chest. "Can you describe how he looked at you?" "Like he was studying me, evaluating. It made my skin crawl. I started wearing baggy clothes all the time, just so he'd stop staring." Detective Ramirez made a note. "Did you tell anyone about this?" "Who would I tell? Mom was never home. The school counselor thought I was making up stories for attention. My friends wouldn't understand." Sophia's voice broke. I felt so alone. You're not alone anymore, Detective Ramirez said firmly. And what happened to you was not your fault. Derek Walsh is a predator. He's done this before, and we're going to make sure he never does it again. After the detective left, Victoria found Marcus in the security office reviewing footage. You doing okay? She asked. Marcus didn't turn around. I keep thinking about all the times I almost didn't do anything. Almost convinced myself I was seeing things that weren't there. Almost talked myself out of installing the cameras. But you didn't. But I almost did. And if I had, those kids would still be living in hell. Victoria sat down beside him. You know what my therapist told me after James died? She said survivor's guilt is about punishing yourself for things you couldn't control. You can't beat yourself up for the almost. You can only take credit for what you actually did. Which is, you saved my children. You gave them their lives back. That's not nothing, Marcus. He finally looked at her. How are you so calm? Derek terrorized your kids for 6 months. If it were me, I'd want to kill him. Who says I don't? Victoria's voice was cold. I want him to suffer for what he did. But I'm not going to let rage make me stupid. Rage is what he expects. He thinks I'll have an emotional breakdown, make a scene, maybe even do something that damages my credibility in court. I'm not giving him that satisfaction. So what are you giving him? Complete and total destruction. Legal, financial, social. By the time I'm done with Derek Walsh, he'll wish he'd never heard my name. Marcus smiled slightly. Remind me never to get on your bad side. Too late. You're stuck on my good side now. His smile faded. Victoria, after this is over, after Derek's dealt with, and the kids are healing, what happens to me? What do you mean? I'm just security. This isn't my family. Eventually, you won't need me anymore. Victoria turned her chair to face him fully. First of all, you're not just anything. Second, my kids trust you more than they trust most people right now. You think I'm going to rip that away from them from you? I don't want to overstep. You couldn't overstep if you tried. Marcus, you've become a part of this family whether you plan to or not. And unless you want to leave, I'd like you to stay. As what, security? As whatever you want to be. Friend. Protector. Someone who shows my kids what a good man looks like. She paused. Someone who reminds me that not everyone is Derek Walsh. Marcus met her eyes. Something passed between them, unspoken but understood. I'll stay, he said quietly. The bail hearing at 3 o'clock was swift and brutal. Victoria watched via video link from Patricia's office the kids beside her. Derek appeared in an orange jumpsuit, his expensive suit replaced with county-issue clothing. He looked smaller somehow, less imposing without his armor of designer labels and false charm. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Lisa Diaz, presented the evidence. The embezzlement, the pattern with previous wives, the videos of abuse, the phone call confession. Derek's lawyer, a tired-looking public defender named Brooks, tried to argue for reasonable bail. Your Honor, Mr. Walsh has no prior criminal record. He has ties to the community. He's not a flight risk. Lisa Diaz stood. Your Honor, Mr. Walsh has demonstrated a clear pattern of targeting vulnerable women, marrying them under false pretenses, abusing their children, and extracting money before moving on to the next victim. He's currently under investigation for similar fraud in 2 other states. The prosecution believes, if released, he will either flee the jurisdiction or attempt to contact the victims, in this case, in violation of the restraining order. The judge, a stern-looking woman named Judge Patterson, reviewed the documents. Mr. Walsh. Judge Patterson said, I've seen a lot of bad actors in my courtroom, but preying on grieving widows and their children is particularly despicable. Bail is set at $1 million cash only. If you somehow make bail, you'll be fitted with a GPS monitor and confined to house arrest pending trial. Next case. Derek's face went red. He said something to his lawyer, who shook his head. He's not getting out. Patricia said with satisfaction. 1 million cash, not a chance. What if he has money hidden somewhere? Sophia asked nervously. Then we'll find it and freeze that too. Trust me, Derek Walsh is exactly where he belongs. That night, Victoria made dinner herself for the first time in months. Nothing fancy, just spaghetti and meatballs, the kids' comfort food from when they were little. They ate together at the kitchen table, the TV off, phones put away. Just the three of them and Marcus, who Victoria had insisted stay. This is nice, Ryan said quietly. Just being together. No pressure. No walking on eggshells. This is how it should be, Victoria said. This is how it's going to be from now on. Can I ask you something, Mom? Sophia set down her fork. Always. Why did you marry him, Derek, I mean? Was it just because you were lonely? Victoria took a breath. That's part of it. After your dad died, I felt like I was drowning. Work was the only thing that made sense, the only place where I felt in control. But I knew I was failing you two as a mother. I knew you needed more than I was giving. She paused. When Derek came along, he seemed like the answer. Someone who understood grief. Someone who could step in and be the parent I couldn't be. I thought I was doing what was best for you. But you were wrong, Ryan said. Not cruelly, just stating fact. I was so wrong. And I'm sorry. I should have been here. I should have seen what he was doing. He was good at hiding it, Sophia said quietly. He made everything seem normal when you were around. We thought maybe we were crazy. Maybe we were making it worse than it was. That's called gaslighting, Marcus said. It's a manipulation tactic. Make the victim doubt their own reality so they don't trust themselves enough to speak up. How do you know so much about this stuff? Ryan asked. FBI training included psychology of manipulation, hostage situations, domestic abuse, cult dynamics. It's all the same basic playbook. Break down the victim's sense of self, isolate them, make them dependent on the abuser for their version of reality. That's exactly what he did, Sophia said. He made us think Mom didn't love us, that we were burdens, that he was the only one who cared enough to discipline us properly. Victoria reached across the table and took both kids' hands. I need you to hear this. I love you more than anything in this world. More than the company, more than money, more than my own life. You are not burdens. You never were. You're my greatest accomplishment and my greatest joy. Even when we're difficult, Ryan asked with a small smile. Especially when you're difficult. That means you're being real, not just what someone else wants you to be. They finished dinner in comfortable silence. Afterward, Marcus helped clean up while the kids went to watch a movie in the den. They're going to be okay, Marcus said, loading the dishwasher. How can you be sure? Because they have you, and because they're stronger than they think they are. Victoria leaned against the counter. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. For Derek to somehow find a way out of jail. For his lawyer to punch holes in our case. For something to go wrong. Nothing's going to go wrong. We have him dead to rights. You sound very confident for someone who's seen how broken the system can be. Marcus dried his hands, turned to face her. The system failed my family. I won't let it fail yours. That's a big promise. It's the only promise that matters. Victoria studied his face. Why do I get the feeling there's something you're not telling me? Marcus hesitated. There's something I found in my investigation that I haven't told you yet. Her stomach dropped. What? Derek's real name isn't Derek Walsh. It's Derek Paulson. He changed it legally 6 years ago after his first divorce. I found records going back further. There's a sealed juvenile file from when he was 16. Can you access sealed juvenile records? Not legally, but I have contacts who can. What did you find? Marcus pulled out his phone, showed her a scanned document. When Derek was 16, he was investigated for the death of his stepfather. The man fell down the stairs in their home. Derek was the only witness. He claimed the stepfather was drunk and tripped. The investigation was inconclusive, but the detective's notes suggest he suspected Derek pushed him. Victoria felt cold. Did they find evidence? No. And Derek was a minor with no prior record. The case was closed as accidental death. But 2 years later, Derek's mother died of a prescription drug overdose. Again, Derek was the only person home. He inherited everything. Oh my God. It gets worse. I found 3 other women besides the 2 I mentioned earlier. All of them wealthy. All of them widows or divorcees. All of them had Derek enter their lives as the perfect supportive partner. 2 of them ended their relationships before marriage. 1 filed for a restraining order after Derek threatened her children. That case was also sealed. Victoria sat down heavily. We let a serial predator into our home. You didn't know. He's been doing this for over 20 years. He's polished, professional. The only reason I caught him is because I was looking with trained eyes. Does Patricia know about this? I sent her everything this morning. She's trying to get the sealed juvenile records unsealed for the criminal trial. If the prosecution can establish a pattern going back to his teenage years, it destroys any defense of misunderstanding or strict discipline. Victoria's hands shook. He could have hurt them worse. He could have, but he didn't. Because you came home early. Because you trusted your instincts. Because you acted fast. Because you were here, Victoria corrected. If you hadn't been documenting everything, if you hadn't had the courage to tell me my kids would still be living with that monster. Marcus moved closer, crouched down to her eye level. But they're not. They're safe. And tomorrow we make sure Derek Walsh or Paulson, or whatever the hell his real name is, never hurts anyone again. Victoria wiped her eyes. I hired you as a driver. Best hiring decision you ever made. She laughed despite herself. Don't let my VP of operations hear you say that. Your secret's safe with me. They were interrupted by Sophia calling from the den. Mom, Marcus, come watch with us. Victoria stood. We should go. The kids need normal right now. What's normal look like? I have no idea, but I guess we'll figure it out together. They joined Ryan and Sophia in the den. Some animated movie was playing something about dragons and friendship. Marcus sat in the armchair, Victoria on the couch with both kids leaning against her. Halfway through the movie, Ryan fell asleep, his head on Victoria's shoulder. Sophia lasted another 20 minutes before her eyes closed too. Marcus started to get up to leave, but Victoria shook her head, gestured for him to stay. They sat in the quiet apartment, 2 kids sleeping peacefully for the first time in months, and Victoria thought about James, about how he would have handled this, what he would have said. She imagined him sitting where Marcus was now, watching over them. Imagined him saying what he always said when things were hard. We're Chens, we don't break, we bend, and then we stand back up. Thank you, Victoria whispered to Marcus. For what? For being here, for caring, for being the person we needed when we needed them most. Marcus's voice was rough when he answered. Thank you for letting me be part of something good again, for reminding me that protection can actually work, that sometimes the people you're trying to save actually get saved. We saved each other, Victoria said. Yeah, I guess we did. Outside the window, New York City glittered with a million lights. Somewhere in a jail cell downtown, Derek Walsh sat in his orange jumpsuit, probably still believing he could talk his way out of this. Probably still thinking he was smarter than everyone else. He had no idea what was coming. But Victoria did. And she was ready. The first therapy session happened 3 days after Derek's arrest. Dr. Sarah Mitchell's office was in a brownstone on the Upper East Side, the kind of place that felt more like someone's living room than a clinical space. Victoria sat in the waiting room with Sophia while Ryan had his individual session first. What if I don't know what to say? Sophia asked, her knee bouncing nervously. Then you say that. Dr. Mitchell isn't going to judge you or push you. She's just there to listen. Did you see a therapist after Dad died? Victoria nodded. For about 6 months. Then I convinced myself I was fine and stopped going. Were you fine? No, I was drowning. But I didn't want to admit it, so I just worked harder and pretended the pain wasn't there. Sophia was quiet for a moment. Do you think Dad would be disappointed in us for not being stronger? Victoria turned to face her daughter fully. Your father once told me that strength isn't about never falling down. It's about getting back up every single time. You've been knocked down, baby. Now you're getting back up. That's exactly what he would have wanted. The door opened, and Ryan emerged, eyes red, but calmer than when he went in. How was it? Victoria asked. Hard, but good, I think. Ryan sat down next to them. She asked me to describe what home felt like before Derek and what it felt like with him there. I didn't realize how different it was until I had to say it out loud. What did you tell her? That before home felt safe. Like even when things were hard, we were together and that made it okay. With Derek, home felt like enemy territory. Like we were always one mistake away from punishment. His voice dropped. I told her I used to count the hours until Mom came home because at least then he'd pretend to be nice. But then I started dreading Mom coming home too, because I knew she'd leave again and we'd be alone with him. Victoria's heart broke all over again. Ryan, I know, Mom. Dr. Mitchell said you can't fix it by apologizing. You can only fix it by being different going forward. She's right. Sophia's session lasted 50 minutes. When she came out, she looked exhausted but somehow lighter, like she'd set down something heavy she'd been carrying too long. On the drive home, Sophia said, Dr. Mitchell wants to see me twice a week for a while. She said what Derek did is called psychological abuse, and it can cause something called complex PTSD. Did she explain what that means? Victoria asked. She said it's like regular PTSD, but from ongoing trauma instead of one big event. She said the cutting, the negative self-talk, the panic attacks I've been having, they're all symptoms of my brain trying to cope with constant stress and fear. Are you okay with seeing her twice a week? Yeah, she's nice. She didn't make me feel crazy or broken. She just made me feel like what happened to me was real, and it matters. Marcus was waiting at the apartment when they got back. He'd spent the afternoon coordinating with Detective Ramirez and the DA's office. They want to add charges, Marcus told Victoria once the kids went to their rooms. Witness tampering, coercion of minors, and they're investigating whether they can charge him with stalking based on the pattern with previous families. How solid is the case? DA says it's the most documented abuse case she's seen in 10 years. Between the videos, the audio recordings, the financial records, and the kid's testimony. Derek's looking at 5 to 15 years if convicted on all counts. 5 to 15, Victoria repeated. That's not enough. It's what the law allows. But there's more. 2 of Derek's previous victims have come forward. They saw the news coverage and contacted the DA. Both are willing to testify about similar patterns of abuse with their children. Can they do that? Isn't that prejudicial? Normally, yes, but the prosecution is arguing it establishes a pattern of behavior which makes it relevant. If the judge allows it, Derek's defense falls apart completely. Victoria sat down at the kitchen counter. When's the preliminary hearing? 2 weeks. That's when the judge decides if there's enough evidence to go to trial. There's more than enough evidence. I know, but Derek's lawyer is going to try to suppress the video recordings claim they were obtained illegally. They weren't. Patricia said hidden cameras in your own home are completely legal. They are. But desperate lawyers make desperate arguments. Brooks is going to throw everything at the wall and hope something sticks. Victoria's phone rang. Patricia's name flashed on the screen. Tell me something good, Victoria answered. Derek's lawyer just filed a motion claiming you're an unfit mother and requesting emergency custody be given to Derek's sister. Victoria's blood went cold. What? It's a Hail Mary. They're claiming you were negligent, that you knew about the discipline and approved it, that you're now fabricating abuse claims to avoid losing custody in the divorce. That's insane. We have videos of him. I know, it won't work. But it will make headlines, which is the point. They're trying to poison public opinion, make you look bad so a jury might be sympathetic to Derek. How do we fight it? We already are. I'm filing a response tomorrow with affidavits from Dr. Mitchell, the kids' school counselors, Detective Ramirez, and character witnesses who can attest to your devotion as a mother. We'll also include Marcus's security reports showing the timeline of when you discovered the abuse and how quickly you acted. What about Derek's sister? Does she actually want custody? According to Brooks, yes. Her name is Linda Paulson. She's claiming Derek is a devoted uncle, and you're keeping the kids from their family. Marcus looked up sharply. Paulson, not Walsh. That's Derek's birth name, Patricia said. He changed it 6 years ago. I know, but if his sister still uses Paulson, that means she was part of his life before the name change, before the fraud. She might know things. Like what? Victoria asked. Like why he changed his name. Like what happened with the stepfather and the mother. Like whether this pattern goes back further than we think. Patricia's voice sharpened. Marcus, can you find her? Talk to her. I can try. But if she's supporting Derek, she's not going to talk to me. What if someone else approaches her? Victoria said slowly. Someone she doesn't know is connected to the case. You want me to go undercover? Marcus asked. I want you to find out if Linda Paulson is a victim or an accomplice. Because if she knows what her brother is, and she's still defending him, that tells us something important. Marcus nodded. I'll make some calls. That night, Victoria couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Derek in jail, probably spinning stories to anyone who would listen. Probably already planning his defense, his counterattack. She got up at 2 a.m. and found Marcus in the security office, still awake, reviewing footage. You should be sleeping, Victoria said. So should you. She sat down next to him. What are you watching? The day Derek moved in. I'm looking for anything we missed, any sign that he was planning this from the beginning. On the screen, Derek carried boxes into the penthouse, smiling, chatting easily with the movers. He looked so normal, so harmless. There, Marcus said, pausing the video. Look at his eyes. Victoria leaned closer. Derek was standing in the foyer, looking around the apartment. His smile was perfect, but his eyes were calculating, measuring, evaluating. He's cataloging everything, Marcus said. Looking for weaknesses, vulnerabilities, things he can use later. How did I not see this? Because you weren't looking for it. Why would you? You thought you were marrying someone who loved you. Victoria watched Derek on the screen approach the kids' rooms, his expression shifting to something softer, more paternal when Sophia appeared. Uncle Derek. Sophia's voice came through the speakers, young and trusting. Do you want to see my room? I'd love to, sweetheart. They disappeared into her room. Derek emerged 5 minutes later, alone. His smile gone, replaced by that same calculating look. He was studying her, Victoria whispered. Even then, finding her weaknesses. Predators always do. They test boundaries early, see how much they can get away with. By the time anyone realizes what's happening, they've already got their hooks in deep. Victoria turned away from the screen. I let him into their lives. I put them in danger. You didn't know. I should have. I'm their mother. I should have sensed something was wrong. Marcus paused the video. You want to know what I think? What? I think you're human. I think you were grieving and lonely and trying to hold together a company and a family and your own sanity. I think Derek saw that and exploited it, and I think beating yourself up about it doesn't help anyone. Then what does help? Making sure he never does this to anyone else. That's what helps. Victoria nodded slowly. Patricia said the media is going to be brutal once this goes to trial. Probably. Billionaire CEO, messy divorce abuse allegations. It's tabloid gold. The kids are going to see it. Their friends, their classmates, everyone is going to know. Would you rather keep it quiet? Let Derek walk away. No, God no, but I hate that Ryan and Sophia have to go through this publicly. They're stronger than you think, and they have you and Dr. Mitchell and me. We'll get them through it." Victoria looked at him. "Why are you really doing this, Marcus? The truth this time?" He was quiet for a long moment. "You want the truth?" "Yes. When Elena and Diego died, I wanted to die too. I planned it out actually. Pills, alcohol, nice and clean. I wrote letters to my parents, my sister, my old FBI team. I had everything ready." Victoria's breath caught. "The night I was going to do it, I got a call from my old partner Jackson. He needed help on a case, just some quick consulting work. I almost didn't answer. But I did, and I went to help him, and that case turned into another case and another, until eventually I realized I'd been alive for 6 more months without meaning to." "What changed?" "I met a kid, 7 years old. His name was Tommy. His father had taken him hostage during a custody dispute. I talked the father down, got Tommy out safe. And afterward, Tommy hugged me and said, 'Thank you for saving me.' And I thought maybe that's enough. Maybe I can't save my own son, but I can save other people's sons, other people's daughters. So you became a protector. I became someone who refused to let tragedy repeat if I had any power to stop it." Marcus met her eyes. "When I saw what Derek was doing to Ryan and Sophia, it was like watching my worst nightmare happen to someone else's family, and I couldn't walk away. I couldn't let another parent lose their children even if the loss was emotional instead of physical." Victoria reached out and took his hand. "You saved us, Marcus. All of us. Not just the kids. You saved yourself. I just gave you the information you needed. No, you gave me courage. You showed me what real protection looks like, what real strength is." They sat in silence, hands joined, two broken people who'd somehow found each other in the wreckage. The next morning, Marcus drove to Brooklyn to find Linda Paulson. She lived in a modest apartment in Park Slope, worked as a dental hygienist according to the records he'd pulled. He watched her apartment from his car, waiting. At noon, she emerged heading for the subway. Marcus followed on foot, keeping distance. Linda was in her early 40s, thin, with the same dark hair as Derek, but none of his polish. She looked tired, worn down by life. Marcus followed her to a coffee shop in downtown Brooklyn. She sat alone at a corner table, pulled out a book. He approached carefully. "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" Linda looked up wary. "No." "Thanks. Crowded in here today." Marcus made a show of checking his phone. After a few minutes he said, "I hate to bother you, but you look familiar. Did you go to NYU by any chance?" "No, Hunter College." "Ah, my mistake. I'm Marcus." "Linda." She didn't offer to shake hands. "What are you reading?" She showed him the cover. "Some crime thriller." "Good?" "It's okay. Better than real life, at least." Marcus took a chance. "Rough week." Linda's laugh was bitter. "You could say that. My brother just got arrested for abusing his stepkids. Now I've got his lawyer calling me, asking me to testify that he's a good person. Like I even know anymore." Marcus's pulse quickened. She'd opened the door herself. "That's heavy. I'm sorry." "Don't be. Derek's always been—" She trailed off, shook her head. "Never mind. You don't want to hear about my family drama. Actually, I'm a pretty good listener. Comes with the job. I used to work crisis intervention." Linda studied him for a moment. "Why do I feel like this isn't a coincidence? You sitting here asking about my week?" Marcus made a split-second decision. "Honesty." "Because it's not. I work for Victoria Chen. I'm the one who caught Derek on camera abusing her kids." Linda's face went white. She started to stand. "Wait. Please. Just 5 minutes. You're trying to gather dirt on my brother to use in court. I'm trying to protect 2 kids who've been terrorized for 6 months. If Derek is innocent, help me understand that. But if you know he's not, if you've seen this before, then help me stop him before he does it to someone else." Linda sat back down slowly. "Why should I trust you?" "Because I don't think you actually believe Derek is innocent. I think his lawyer convinced you to support him out of family loyalty, but your gut is telling you something different." Tears filled Linda's eyes. He's my brother. I know, and that makes this impossibly hard. But those kids didn't ask for any of this. They're 15 and 13. They've already lost their father to cancer. And Derek came in and systematically destroyed what was left of their sense of safety. Derek's lawyer said Victoria is lying, that she's making it up to get full custody. We have 40 hours of video footage showing Derek verbally abusing them, threatening them, manipulating them. We have audio of him confessing his entire scheme to someone on the phone. We have financial records showing embezzlement. What we don't have is his motive, why he does this. That's what I need your help understanding. Linda wiped her eyes. If I tell you things, will it be used in court? Only if you agree to testify. Otherwise, it's just background to help me protect the kids going forward. She was quiet for a long time. Then, Derek wasn't always like this. When we were kids, he was sweet, protective. Our father left when I was 3, so Derek kind of became the man of the house, even though he was only 7. What changed? Our mother remarried when Derek was 14. Guy named Ron. He was okay at first, then he started drinking. Got mean, especially toward Derek. Physically abusive. Emotionally mostly. Told Derek he was worthless, stupid, would never amount to anything. Classic drunk stepdad stuff. Linda's hands shook as she picked up her coffee. Derek took it for about 2 years. Then one night when I was at a friend's house, Ron fell down the stairs, broke his neck. Derek was there. Derek was the only one there. He said Ron was drunk, tripped. The police investigated but couldn't prove anything. What do you think happened? Linda met his eyes. I think Derek pushed him, and I think part of me is glad he did because Ron was a monster. But I also think something broke in Derek that night, like he realized he could make people disappear and get away with it. What about your mother? She died 2 years later. Pills. Derek found her, called the ambulance too late. He inherited everything, which wasn't much, but enough for him to go to college. Do you think he killed her too? I don't know, I really don't. But after she died, Derek changed. Got colder, more calculating. Started dating women with money, always older, always vulnerable in some way. Did he ever hurt you? Linda's laugh was hollow. He didn't need to. I was useful. I covered for him, lied for him, made excuses when his relationships fell apart. I told myself he was just trying to find someone to love him after all the abuse he suffered. But deep down, I knew. Knew what? That he was doing to them what Ron did to him. The psychological games, the manipulation, the breaking people down until they didn't know which way was up. He was becoming the thing he hated most. Marcus let that sit for a moment. Linda, those kids are in therapy now. They're going to carry scars from what Derek did for the rest of their lives. And if he gets away with this, he'll do it again. To another family. More kids. I know. Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. But he's still my brother. I'm all the family he has left. And what about the families he destroys? Don't they matter? Of course they matter. God, of course they do. But how do I betray my own blood? You're not betraying him. You're holding him accountable. There's a difference. Linda stood abruptly. I need to think about this. I can't just... I need time. Marcus pulled out a card with his number. When you're ready to talk, call me. Anytime, day or night. She took the card, held it like it might burn her. Linda, Marcus said gently, what would you want someone to do if they saw you being hurt and did nothing? She didn't answer. Just walked out of the coffee shop, leaving her book behind. Marcus sat there for another 20 minutes, then called Victoria. How'd it go? She asked. She knows what he is. She's known for years. But family loyalty is a hell of a drug. Will she testify? I don't know. She's conflicted. But I planted the seed. Now we wait. We're running out of time, Marcus. The preliminary hearing is in 12 days. I know, but pushing her will only make her defensive. She has to come to this decision herself. That evening, Victoria sat down with Ryan and Sophia after dinner. "I need to tell you something about the trial," she began. Both kids looked nervous. "Derek's lawyer is going to try to paint me as a bad mother. They're going to say I knew about the abuse and didn't stop it. They're going to say I'm lying to win the divorce." "But that's not true," Sophia said. "I know, and we'll prove it's not true, but it's going to be ugly. The media is going to cover this. Your friends might see things online. People might ask you questions." "What should we say?" Ryan asked. "The truth if you want to, or nothing at all. You don't owe anyone an explanation." "What if people don't believe us?" Sophia's voice was small. Victoria pulled her close. "Then those people don't matter. The people who love you will believe you. The court will believe you because we have proof. And anyone who chooses to side with Derek after seeing the evidence isn't someone worth worrying about." "I'm scared," Sophia admitted. "Me too," Ryan added. "So am I," Victoria said. "But we're scared together. And we're going to get through this together. All of us." Marcus appeared in the doorway. "Sorry to interrupt, but Detective Ramirez just called. Derek's trying to make bail through a bondsman. Someone's putting up collateral." "Who?" Victoria stood. "She doesn't know yet, but whoever it is has substantial assets. The hearing is tomorrow morning." Victoria felt ice in her veins. "If he gets out?" "The restraining order still holds. He can't come within 500 feet of any of you." "You think a piece of paper is going to stop him if he's angry enough?" Marcus's jaw tightened. "No. Which is why, if he makes bail, I'm staying here, 24/7. He wants to get to you or the kids, he goes through me first." "Marcus, you can't just—" "Yes, I can, and I will." Victoria looked at Ryan and Sophia's frightened faces and made a decision. "Okay, but we're also hiring additional security. I want someone on the building entrance, someone in the parking garage, cameras on every access point." "Already done," Marcus said. "I made the calls this afternoon." The bail hearing the next morning was tense. Victoria, Patricia, and Marcus sat in the gallery while Derek was brought in, still in his orange jumpsuit. The bondsman's representative stood. "Your Honor, we're prepared to post the $1 million bond. Collateral has been verified." Judge Patterson looked skeptical. "Who's posting this bond?" "A private investor who wishes to remain anonymous." "That's not how this works. I need a name." The representative hesitated. "Linda Paulson, Your Honor, Mr. Walsh's sister." Victoria's stomach dropped. Linda had chosen Derek after all. "Ms. Paulson is putting up her home as collateral?" the judge asked. "Yes, Your Honor." Patricia stood. "Your Honor, the prosecution objects. Mr. Walsh has demonstrated a pattern of manipulation, including with family members. We believe his sister is being coerced." "Does Ms. Paulson wish to address the court?" Linda Paulson stood from the back of the courtroom. She looked small, scared, but determined. "Your Honor, I'm here of my own free will. Derek is my brother. I believe he deserves a chance to defend himself outside of a jail cell." Judge Patterson studied her. "Ms. Paulson, you understand that if your brother violates any condition of his release, you'll lose your home." "I understand." "And you still wish to post bail?" Linda's voice wavered. "Yes, Your Honor." The judge sighed. "Bail is granted. Mr. Walsh, you'll be fitted with a GPS monitor. You're confined to your sister's residence except for court appearances and meetings with your attorney. You violate the restraining order, you're back in jail immediately. Am I clear?" "Crystal clear, Your Honor." Derek said, his voice smooth as silk. He turned and looked directly at Victoria. Smiled. She felt Marcus tense beside her. As they left the courthouse, Patricia pulled Victoria aside. "This is bad, but it's not the end. He's still on a leash. One wrong move and he's back in custody." "You didn't see the way he looked at me," Victoria said. "He thinks he's won." "Let him think that. Overconfident defendants make mistakes." But as Victoria got into Marcus's car, she couldn't shake the feeling that Derek wasn't overconfident. He was planning something. and they were running out of time to figure out what. That night, Marcus installed additional security measures throughout the penthouse. Motion sensors on every window, panic buttons in each bedroom, a direct line to the NYPD that would trigger an immediate response. "You really think he'll try something?" Victoria asked, watching him work. "I think a man like Derek doesn't accept losing. And right now, he's lost everything. His marriage, his money, his freedom. People like that either break down or lash out." "Which one is Derek?" Marcus met her eyes. "He's the lashing out type." Victoria checked on the kids before bed. Ryan was reading or pretending to. Sophia sat at her desk, staring at nothing. "You okay, baby?" Victoria asked from the doorway. "He's out of jail. He's at his sister's apartment in Brooklyn. He can't come here." "Mom, you don't know him like we do. Rules don't matter to Derek. He'll find a way." Victoria sat on the edge of Sophia's bed. "Then we'll be ready. Marcus is here. We have security. The police are one button press away." "What if that's not enough?" "It will be. I promise you, Sophia, I will not let him hurt you again." Sophia turned to face her mother. "Doctor, Mitchell asked me today what I wanted to happen to Derek. Like what would make me feel safe. What did you tell her?" "I said I wanted him to disappear. Just vanish, so I never have to think about him again." Tears streamed down Sophia's face. "Does that make me a bad person?" "No, sweetheart. It makes you someone who's been hurt and wants the pain to stop. That's completely normal." "Ryan wants Derek to go to prison forever. He says that's the only way we'll be safe." "What do you think?" "I think I don't care where Derek goes as long as he's nowhere near us. I just want to feel safe in my own home again." Victoria held her daughter until she fell asleep, then checked on Ryan. He was still awake, his book abandoned. "Can't sleep either?" Victoria asked. "Every time I close my eyes, I see him, standing over us, making us kneel, telling us you didn't want us." Victoria sat on his bed. "He lied about all of it, Ryan. Every single word. I know that now, but for 6 months I believed him. I actually believed my own mother hated me. How messed up is that?" "It's not messed up. It's what happens when someone manipulates you. Derek is a professional predator. He's been doing this for over 20 years. You were just a kid." "I should have been smarter." "You were exactly as smart as a 13-year-old should be. This isn't on you, Ryan. It's on Derek. And it's on me for not seeing it sooner." Ryan was quiet for a moment. "Marcus said something to me today. He said the best revenge against someone who tries to break you is to refuse to stay broken. Marcus is a smart man. Is he going to stay? After all this is over?" Victoria smiled. "I hope so." "Why?" "Because he's good for you. He makes you smile again, like you used to with Dad. You wouldn't mind if Marcus was around more?" "Are you kidding? The guy's like a real-life superhero. He saved us from Derek. Plus he knows everything about planes, and he's teaching me about security systems. He's pretty cool." Victoria kissed her son's forehead. "Get some sleep. Big day tomorrow." The preliminary hearing was scheduled for 10 a.m. The courthouse was packed with reporters, cameras, curious onlookers. Victoria held Ryan and Sophia's hands as they walked through the crowd, Marcus and 2 security guards flanking them. "Mrs. Chen, is it true you knew about the abuse?" "Mrs. Chen, will your children testify?" "Mrs. Chen, what do you say to accusations you're a negligent mother?" Marcus moved closer, his voice low and dangerous. "Back up. Now." They made it inside. Patricia was waiting, her expression grim. "Derek's lawyer is going after the video evidence. He's claiming it was obtained illegally and should be suppressed. We've been over this. Hidden cameras in my own home are legal. I know. But Brooks is arguing that the audio recordings violate New York's wiretapping laws since Derek didn't consent to being recorded." "Are you kidding me? He's arguing he should have consented to being caught abusing children?" It's a technicality. It won't work, but it'll create doubt. That's all he needs for a jury. The hearing began. Derek sat at the defense table, in a suit cleaned up, looking nothing like the monster Victoria knew him to be. He looked like a respectable businessman, wrongly accused. Brooks stood. Your Honor, the defense moves to suppress all video and audio evidence obtained by Marcus Rodriguez. Mr. Rodriguez installed hidden cameras throughout my client's home without his knowledge or consent. This is a clear violation of privacy rights and New York wiretapping statutes. Patricia countered. Your Honor, the cameras were installed in Victoria Chen's home at her security officer's discretion. Mrs. Chen had every legal right to monitor her own property. The defendant had no expectation of privacy while committing crimes against children. Judge Morrison looked at the evidence logs. Mr. Rodriguez, you installed these cameras. Marcus stood. Yes, Your Honor. On whose authority? My own initially. As head of security, I'm authorized to install surveillance equipment as I deem necessary for the safety of the household. Did Mrs. Chen know about the cameras? Not at first. I suspected abuse, but needed proof before making accusations against her husband. So you installed surveillance equipment in someone's home without the homeowner's knowledge. I installed surveillance equipment in my employer's home to protect her children from an abuser. Once I had evidence, I immediately informed Mrs. Chen. Brooks jumped in. Your Honor, Mr. Rodriguez just admitted he acted without authorization. This evidence is fruit of the poisonous tree. Judge Morrison was quiet for a long moment. Then, the cameras were installed in common areas of the home, not bedrooms or bathrooms, correct? Correct, Your Honor, Marcus said. And the purpose was to document suspected child abuse. Yes, Your Honor. Then I'm going to allow it. New York law permits property owners to install surveillance in their own homes. Mrs. Chen owns the property. Mr. Rodriguez was acting as her security officer. The expectation of privacy does not extend to criminal activity. Motion denied. Brooks's face flushed red. Your Honor, we object. I've made my ruling, Counselor. Let's move on. The prosecution called its first witness. Detective Ramirez took the stand and walked through her investigation. The timeline of abuse. The physical evidence. The kid's testimony. Then Patricia called Dr. Sarah Mitchell. Dr. Mitchell, you've been treating Sophia Chen for how long? 3 weeks. What is your professional assessment of her mental state? Sophia is suffering from complex PTSD, depression, and self-harm behaviors directly resulting from prolonged psychological abuse. She exhibits classic symptoms of a child who's been systematically manipulated and terrorized. In your professional opinion, is Sophia fabricating these claims for attention? Absolutely not. Children who fabricate abuse tend to have inconsistent stories, dramatic presentations, and often show no real psychological distress. Sophia's trauma is textbook real. The cutting, the nightmares, the anxiety, the dissociation. These aren't things a child can fake. Brooks cross-examined. Dr. Mitchell, isn't it possible Sophia's trauma stems from losing her father to cancer, not from my client's discipline? Sophia was already in therapy after her father's death. Her previous therapist's notes show she was grieving but coping. The self-harm and severe anxiety didn't begin until after Derek Walsh entered the home. Correlation isn't causation. You're right. But when you combine the timeline with Sophia's detailed accounts of specific abusive incidents, with video evidence of those incidents, and with testimony from her brother describing identical treatment, the causation becomes clear. Brooks tried several more angles, but Dr. Mitchell held firm. Then came the moment Victoria had been dreading. The prosecution called Ryan to the stand. Her 13-year-old son walked to the witness box, was sworn in, sat down. He looked so small up there. Lisa Diaz, the prosecutor, spoke gently. Ryan, I know this is hard, but I need you to tell the judge what Derek Walsh did to you. Ryan's voice was quiet but steady. He made us feel like we were nothing, like Mom didn't want us, and we should be grateful he was willing to put up with us. Can you give me an example? Ryan described the night with the broken glass, the forced writing assignments, the locked doors. His voice never wavered, but Victoria could see his hands shaking. Brooks stood for cross-examination. Ryan, isn't it true your mother was gone a lot? Traveling for work, staying late at the office? Yes. So Derek was the one taking care of you, making sure you did homework, teaching you responsibility? No, he was the one making us afraid to exist in our own home. Isn't it possible you're exaggerating normal discipline because you resented having a stepfather? Ryan looked Brooks directly in the eye. I loved my real father. When he died, I thought I'd never have another father figure. When Derek came along, I wanted to like him. I tried so hard to be good enough, but nothing was ever good enough. He didn't want to be our father. He wanted to break us. Your Honor, Brooks said, the witness is being coached. The witness is answering your question, Judge Morrison said sharply. Continue. Brooks tried to rattle Ryan, but the boy held strong. When he finally stepped down, Victoria saw Marcus give him a small nod of approval. Sophia's testimony was harder. She broke down twice, had to take breaks. But she told her story. Every painful detail. When the prosecution rested, Brooks called his only witness, Derek Walsh. Derek took the stand, placed his hand on the Bible, swore to tell the truth. Then he lied through his teeth. I loved those children, Derek said, his voice breaking perfectly. I came into their lives trying to help a grieving widow and her struggling kids. Yes, I was strict. Yes, I had rules. But everything I did was to help them become better people. Tell us about the kneeling incident, Brooks prompted. The children had been incredibly disrespectful that day, fighting with each other, refusing to do homework, breaking things. I was at my wit's end. So I had them kneel and think about their behavior for a few minutes. That's it. No violence, no threats. Just time to reflect. Victoria wanted to scream. Lisa Diaz stood for cross-examination. Mr. Walsh, you testified you loved the children. Yet we have video of you calling them burdens, telling them their mother doesn't want them, threatening them with boarding school. How is that love? I was frustrated. I said things I shouldn't have in moments of anger, but I never meant to hurt them. You also embezzled $47,000 from Mrs. Chen. Was that frustration too? Derek's mask slipped for just a second. That was a misunderstanding about shared expenses. A misunderstanding that involved you siphoning money into a separate account she didn't know existed. I was planning to pay it back. Really? Then why did we find evidence you were planning to file for divorce and request alimony and child support? Derek's lawyer objected, but the damage was done. Lisa played the audio recording of Derek's phone call, the one where he confessed the entire scheme. Derek's face went white as his own voice filled the courtroom. The plan is working perfectly. Another 6 months and I'll have enough evidence of her neglect to sue for custody. Victoria Chen is worth billions. When I walk away from this marriage, I'm set for life. The courtroom erupted. Judge Morrison banged his gavel. Order. I will have order. Derek tried to explain to spin it, but there was no spinning this. Judge Morrison looked at him with disgust. I've heard enough. There is overwhelming evidence of systematic child abuse, financial fraud, and premeditated manipulation. This case is going to trial. Mr. Walsh, your bail is revoked. You're remanded to custody immediately. Your Honor, please, Brooks started. Now, counselor, bailiff, take him. As Derek was cuffed, he looked at Victoria one last time. The mask was completely gone. What she saw in his eyes was pure hatred. You'll regret this, he mouthed. Marcus moved closer to Victoria. He's done. He can't touch you now. But as Derek was led away, he suddenly lunged toward the gallery where Ryan and Sophia sat. The bailiffs grabbed him, but not before he screamed, "Those kids are liars. All of this is lies. I'll prove it. I'll—" He was dragged from the courtroom, still shouting. Sophia was crying. Ryan had his arm around her. Victoria rushed to them. "It's over," she said. "He can't hurt you anymore. It's over. The trial took 3 weeks. Derek's lawyer tried everything, but the evidence was overwhelming. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Derek Walsh was sentenced to 12 years in prison. No parole eligibility for 8. When the verdict was read, Victoria felt something break loose in her chest. Not grief this time. Relief. Pure, overwhelming relief. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed again. "Mrs. Chen, how do you feel about the verdict?" Victoria stepped up to the microphone cluster, Ryan and Sophia on either side, Marcus behind them. "I feel grateful. Grateful for a justice system that listened to my children. Grateful for Detective Ramirez and the DA's office for taking this seriously. Grateful for everyone who supported us through this nightmare." She paused. "But mostly I feel angry. Angry that it took this long. Angry that Derek Walsh was able to hurt multiple families before someone stopped him. And angry that there are thousands of children right now living in similar situations, too afraid to speak up." "What do you want people to take away from this case?" a reporter asked. Victoria looked down at her children, then back at the cameras. "Listen to your children. Really listen. Even when what they're saying is hard to hear. Even when it's about someone you love and trust. Believe them. Investigate. Protect them." Her voice strengthened. "And to any child watching this who's being hurt, who's afraid, who thinks no one will believe them, you are not alone. Tell someone. Keep telling people until someone listens. Your life matters. Your safety matters. You deserve to be protected." Sophia squeezed her mother's hand. That night, the 4 of them sat in the penthouse living room, the same room where Derek had made the kids kneel. But it felt different now. Reclaimed. "So what happens now?" Ryan asked. "Now we heal," Victoria said. "Therapy, family time, rebuilding. We figure out who we are without fear. And Derek just sits in prison. Derek sits in prison and thinks about what he's done, and hopefully he never hurts anyone again." Marcus stood. "I should let you all have some family time." "Marcus, wait," Sophia said. "You're part of this family. You don't have to leave." He looked at Victoria, who nodded. "She's right. You're not going anywhere unless you want to." Marcus sat back down. "I don't want to." 6 months later, life had found a new rhythm. Sophia was still in therapy, but the cutting had stopped. She'd joined the debate team at school and was thriving. Ryan had started volunteering at a youth center, helping other kids who'd experienced abuse. Victoria had restructured her company to allow for better work-life balance and was home for dinner every night. And Marcus had moved into the guest wing of the penthouse, officially hired as director of security, but functionally much more than that. He taught Ryan about engineering. He helped Sophia with college applications. He sat with Victoria on quiet evenings and talked about everything and nothing. They weren't romantic, not yet. Maybe not ever. But they were family, the kind you choose, the kind built on trust and survival and shared purpose. One evening, Victoria found an envelope on her desk. Linda Paulson's return address. Inside was a handwritten letter. "Dear Victoria, I know I can't undo putting up Derek's bail. I know I chose wrong when I should have chosen right. I'm writing because you deserve an explanation, even if not an excuse. Derek was all the family I had left. I convinced myself he could change, that he wasn't as bad as I feared. I was wrong. Seeing him in court, hearing what he did to your children, I finally understood what I'd been enabling all these years. I've started therapy to understand why I protected him for so long. And I've begun reaching out to Derek's other victims to apologize and offer whatever help I can. I know none of this fixes what happened, but I wanted you to know that I see the truth now. And I'm sorry. Your children are brave beyond measure, and you're the kind of mother I hope to be someday if I'm ever lucky enough to have kids. Thank you for stopping him. Linda." Victoria folded the letter and put it away. Forgiveness would take time if it came at all, but she appreciated the honesty. That Sunday, the family visited James's grave for the first time in over a year. Victoria had avoided it, the pain too raw. But Sophia had asked to go, and Victoria realized it was time. They stood at the headstone together. Marcus hung back, giving them space. "Hi, Dad," Sophia said quietly. "Sorry it's been a while. Things got complicated." Ryan added, "We're okay now, though. Mom made sure of that." Victoria knelt, touched the cold marble. "I'm sorry I stopped coming. I was so lost after you died, James. I made so many mistakes, but I'm finding my way back. The kids are safe. We're healing. I think you'd be proud of who they're becoming." She felt Marcus's hand on her shoulder, turned to see him standing with Ryan and Sophia, the three of them together. "James," Victoria said, tears falling freely now. "I know I'll always love you, but I think I'm finally ready to live again. Really live. And I think you'd want that for us." The wind picked up, rustling through the trees surrounding the cemetery. Sophia smiled through her tears. "Dad always said the universe speaks if you know how to listen." They stood there together for a while longer, a family that had been broken and rebuilt, different than before, but stronger for the breaking. As they walked back to the car, Ryan said, "Mom, thank you." "For what, baby?" "For coming home early that day. For believing us. For fighting for us." Victoria pulled both kids close. "I will always fight for you. Always. That's what mothers do." Marcus opened the car doors, and they all climbed in. As he started the engine, Sophia asked, "Can we get ice cream?" "It's November," Victoria said, "so ice cream doesn't have a season." Marcus caught Victoria's eye in the rearview mirror. She smiled. "Ice cream it is." They drove through Manhattan, the city lights beginning to twinkle as evening fell. A family that had survived the worst and come out the other side not unscathed but unbroken. Because survival isn't about avoiding pain. It's about refusing to let pain define you. It's about finding the courage to trust again, to love again, to believe that tomorrow can be better than today. And for Victoria Chen, Marcus Rodriguez Ryan, and Sophia tomorrow finally held promise instead of fear. Derek Walsh sat in his cell that night, still insisting he was the victim, still plotting appeals that would never succeed. But in the penthouse across the city, the family he'd tried to destroy was eating ice cream and laughing and planning next summer's vacation. They had taken back their lives. And Derek Walsh had lost everything he'd tried to steal. Sometimes justice isn't just a verdict. It's reclaiming your own story and writing the ending yourself. And this family had written themselves a new beginning,